Sunday's fatal incident at the Waukesha Christmas parade, Brooks is expected in a Waukesha courtroom. Police said they would refer 5 counts of intentional homicide against the Milwaukee man after they say he barreled into the Waukesha Christmas parade Sunday, killing 5 and injuring 48 more, including at least 18 children. The prosecutors officially charged Darrell Brook with 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. Those charges were leveled today. Brooks was arrested on Sunday after allegedly using his SUV to plow through the Christmas parade. And Waukesha Police Chief Dan Thompson said during a press conference yesterday that his office had recommended the charges to the district attorney. Also, one more update, at least from Waukesha, the court documents indicate at least 62 people were injured in the Christmas parade. Charging documents filed against the Waukesha parade incident suspect, Darrell Brooks, indicate a total of 62 people were injured, in addition to the 5 people killed Sunday. Previously, authorities had said 48 were injured. So the number goes up. He will appear in court at this hour. That's our understanding. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll let you, our fair audience, know if it's relevant. And I think this is just an initial appearance. So I don't think we'll take any of sound of that. But you can be a part of this program if you want to be at 844-967-2789. We'll get to the phones in a minute. And I see you, Dave, and I see others will be dialing in soon. Rittenhouse says Joe Biden, the president, defamed his character. Kyle Rittenhouse, the teen who was acquitted of murder last week after a jury found he acted in self-defense, this reporting according to thehill.com, when he shot and killed 2 people and injured a third during civil unrest in Kenosha last summer, accused President Biden of defaming him. What did you make of the president of the United States calling you a white supremacist? Rittenhouse was asked by Foxy News host Tucker Carlson, rhymes with Tucker, during a wide-ranging interview, a portion of which was aired on Monday evening. Here's his quote. "Mr. President, if I could say one thing to you, I would urge you to go back and watch the trial and understand the facts before you make a statement," Rittenhouse said. Carlson pressed Rittenhouse to go on, saying it's not a small thing to be called that. "No," Rittenhouse responded, "it's actual malice." Well, there he is, quoting a legal term, actual malice, defaming my character for him to say something like that, almost implying like there's a lawsuit in the works. Carlson and Rittenhouse were apparently referencing a video cited by Rittenhouse's defenders that was tweeted by Biden in September during the presidential race last year, which featured a clip from a debate between Biden and former President Donald Trump. During the debate, Fox News anchor and moderator Chris Wallace asked Trump if he was willing to condemn white supremacist and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of cities, as we saw in Kenosha, as we've seen in Portland. The clip shows Trump responding by condemning what he called political violence from the left wing before telling members of the far-right Proud Boys group to stand back and stand by. You recall that? You remember that debate? There's no other way to put it. The president of the United States refused to disavow white supremacists on the debate stage last night, Biden said in the tweet accompanying the video. Rittenhouse's picture was also featured in Biden's video. Ergo, according to Rittenhouse, the president of the United States called him a white supremacist. Well, I don't think that's such a leap. I think there's some relationship when you say white supremacist. He wasn't throwing up a 3%er at the time, but I think you can accurately say that he was linked with white supremacists through the tweet of the former, I guess Biden's the current president, then candidate Biden. A little bit more. The jury system works and we have to abide by it. That's what Biden told reporters after issuing a statement earlier Friday. "I know that we're not going to heal our country's wounds overnight, but I remain steadfast in my commitment to do everything in my power to ensure that every American is treated equally with fairness and dignity under the law. Rittenhouse, during the interview with Tucker, rhymes with Tucker Carlson, maintained that his case never had anything to do with race. It was instead about the right to self-defense. Now, here is Rittenhouse's quote to, Tucker, rhymes with Tucker. I'm not a racist person. I support the BLM movement. I support peacefully demonstrating. I believe there's a need to be change. I believe, that's what he said. I believe there needs to be change. Clarity. I believe there's a lot of prosecutorial misconduct. Really, that's a lot of deep thinking for an 18-year-old, not just in my case, but in other cases. It's just amazing to see how much a prosecutor can take advantage of someone. Yeah, Black people have been saying that since the beginning of our nation's history, hence the Black Lives Matter movement. A little bit more. Like, if they did this to me, imagine what they could have done to a person of color who doesn't maybe have the resources I do or is not widely publicized like my case. Imagine indeed. What would that be like? 844-967-2789. My pal, conservative Dave from Mequon. Welcome back, Dave. What do you got for us?
I just wanted to respond to what Matt was just saying in your last segment.
Attorney Matt Flynn, my fine co-devil in the 3 o'clock hour.
Yes,
what do you say?
That's correct. Yes, sir. So I just want to credit Tom from LA for having an open mind. I think what he said was spot on. And in regards with Matt, I would counter this in the fact, I did watch a good chunk of the trial. And Crudy, you mentioned something when you were watching during the trial, that people want to see what was said. CBS 58, November 8th, they actually have the cross-examination with the star witness and the defense team when they put him on, for...
You're talking about Grosskreutz?
Yes.
He was a prosecution witness that effectively helped make the case for self-defense. And many legal experts pointed and said, if the case was made, that was the point in the trial when the case was made. Grosskreutz was the guy who pointed the gun. Now, part of the pointing of the gun, he had his arms up and he got shot in the bicep. And when he got his bicep shot off, the arm dropped and pointed the gun at him. That was my understanding, Dave. But he did admit on the point of the stand that he did approach and he did point his gun at Rittenhouse. And effectively, that was damning testimony from the prosecution's point of view, because, of course, the standard for self-defense under Wisconsin law puts all the onus on the prosecutor. And, that was a chink in the armor and probably led to the acquittal, Dave.
Yeah. So I was going to say, in the cross-examination, they asked Grosskreutz, when you were standing 3 to 5 feet from him with your arms up in the air, he never fired, right? And he replied, correct. Then asked, it wasn't until you pointed your gun at him, advanced on him with your gun and your hands down, pointed at him, that he fired.
Well, right? Dave, you're forgetting one important detail that was, litigated at trial. According to Grosskreutz, and the question was it simply that his gun had jammed? Was he clearing his weapon? Talking about the Rittenhouse, not Grosskreutz. Grosskreutz seemingly had a functional pistol. And if he'd have shot Rittenhouse, he would have had a very similar claim of self-defense, right, Dave? According to the circumstances that acquitted Rittenhouse could have just as readily acquitted Grosskreutz had he actually pulled the trigger. But the point of contention was whether or not Rittenhouse had it at his capability in the moment to shoot Grosskreutz while he had his arms up, or did he have a jammed weapon that he was effectively clearing? And if a guy's clearing an AR-15 in front of me and I got a gun, you know what? I might advance on the guy. I might point the gun. And Grosskreutz said, according to Grosskreutz testimony, if I recall, he said, you know what? I just decided I didn't want to kill the guy. Well, Rittenhouse didn't have the same qualms.
Right. Well, and keep in mind, there was other shootings going on even before even Rittenhouse. I was led to believe that Rittenhouse was the only one with the gun, and there was other people. There was somebody else they actually did fire at him. They missed Rittenhouse.
No, I had not heard that anyone pointed a gun and fired at Rittenhouse. There was, I believe, reportedly a gunshot that was fired in the air. But when we talk about the quote unquote, the prosecutor called him an active shooter because he was, Dave. I mean, he had just wounded one guy, killed one guy. That was Rosenbaum, the first guy, the unarmed guy. Might have thrown a plastic bag with some crap in it. Might have said some mean things.
Who had the chain? That's my question, because I think wasn't Rosenbaum also the guy that had the chain, or one of the guys that had a chain and threatening the.
Here's Dave. I appreciate your call, man. And we've had a few decent, reasonable conversations of late. And I try to call him like I see him, Dave. And as I watch the case, I could certainly see where the burden of proof was seemingly insurmountable in this case to prove this was something beyond self-defense. So I get why the jury found as it did. I understand that, but kind of like my outraged attorney friend, Matt, I think it's a miscarriage of justice. I think it speaks more to the fact that perhaps the law should be changed, but nobody ever drove to a different guy's town with an AR-15 with such love and joy and affection for someone else's business. No one ever drove to town to protect the TJ Maxx. I think a comedian said that. Come back. More Devil's Advocates, more of your phone calls could be next.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
Hey, I'm here from Knuckleheads. Have you seen our new location yet? Come on down to 520 State Street for all your CBD needs. We have a huge selection of gummies, oils, and a variety of other CBD products. We also have a gigantic walk-in humidor. The knowledgeable staff at Knuckleheads will work with you to find exactly what you need. Mention Devil Radio at checkout to get 15% off your next order. Knuckleheads, now at 520 State Street. We'll see you there.
The real estate market in Dane County and surrounding areas has been a bit of a hot mess this year. Listings are being picked off above asking prices and without the home inspection contingencies. I'm Todd Osborne, owner of Orion Inspections, and even if I weren't a home inspector, I'd still cringe a little if any of my friends or family tried to buy a home without an inspection. Let's take a good hard look at that house before you sign. Want to know more? I'm here to help. OrionInspections.com. That's Orion, like the constellation, inspections.com.
600,000 Wisconsin families are receiving checks to help take care of their kids thanks to the expanded child tax credit passed by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Ron Johnson voted against these checks for Wisconsin families, despite voting for a 2017 tax break that put more money into the pockets of millionaires like himself. It's time to vote Ron Johnson out of office. MoveOn.org political action, paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Poll.moveon.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Greetings, everyone. This is Nate Tim inviting you to my show, Lay of the Land, about life and politics in rural Wisconsin. Join me every Thursday at 7 p.m. Join me this week for my special guest, Bill Hodseth. See you then.
You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 and WTTN 1580 AM. And that's pretty cool.
The big and tall of political talk, the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Welcome back from the 420 break, one of my favorite times of the day. And I'm always happy when you guys give us a call at 844-967-2789. I see you callers. I'll go to you next, but bear with me. The jury began deliberations Tuesday, that's today, in the trial over the slaying of Ahmaud Arbery, and are tasked with determining the fate of three men facing murder and other felony charges in connection to the fatal shooting of the 25-year-old black man last year. The 12 jurors exited the courtroom after receiving their instructions following 10 days of testimony from a variety of witnesses, including police, neighbors, experts from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and one of the defendants himself. And the guy who went to Lens Crafters. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to retire to the jury room. The three men, Travis McMichael, his father, Greg McMichael, and William Brody Bryan, were all charged individually and as parties concerned in the commission of a crime, with 1 count of malice murder, 4 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and 1 count of false imprisonment, and 1 criminal attempt to commit a felony. Conviction in the case could result in life in prison. All 3 defendants have pled not guilty. And have you seen the defense attorney in this case? I mean, this guy's gone straight to the dog whistle. I mean, he is doing everything he can, perhaps to create a mistrial on behalf of his client. But I mean, it is beyond subtle. All the black pastors in the courtroom and, the black mob here to lynch his client outside the courtroom. Think about how black people literally felt in the very actual circumstances where there was a white mob outside the courthouse to lynch them, sir. You're talking about figurative. This used to happen literally. In fact, your client was driving around with the Confederate flag on his truck, took a guy and shot him, allegedly. The South will rise again. 844-967-2789. Jeannie from Eau Claire, my pal. How you doing, Jeannie?
Oh, good. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And,
I promise to eat too much, Jeannie. I promise I will overindulge.
Good. You should. I watched the entire trial, of the kid from Wisconsin, Rittenhouse. And I had a lot of problems with, the way evidence, was permitted or not permitted. And, and some of the things that he did prior to the crime, because, state of mind is significant in what happened here. Was the kid a paranoid schizophrenic? I don't think so. Was the kid, really and truly, remorseful? I didn't see any of that.
But Jeannie, what about the tears during the defendant's appearance in the court? Literally, Jeannie, I found the witness to be a pretty strong witness. I thought for an 18-year-old kid, Rittenhouse did a fairly good job. He was well coached, if nothing else, Gene. And then he got on the stand and he burst into crocodile tears, perhaps real tears. But if that emotion was not believable to the jury, Gene, he would have been convicted, don't you think?
I don't know, because I'll tell you, he was watching his mom, and it showed I was watching on different stations, and I thought, wow, so I was watching the one of the mother, and the mother was making all these different faces, and they had Kyle's face on her, and he was kind of like mimicking his mom, and then his mom started to burst into it, and then he burst into it. It was real, and he was really rehearsed. He knew exactly what he was going to say and respond. To me, the scary thing is this kid has absolutely zero consequences for his actions. The adults around him should have consequences for their kids' actions. These adults that are putting him on TV and making him a hero should have consequences. This kid isn't going to have a chance in life if he truly is remorseful, if he truly wasn't a wannabe.
But Gene, he is absolutely a wannabe. I think by his own admission, he wants to be a cop. He wants to be an EMT. He was out there, representing himself to be something he was not. At one point during the trial, the prosecutor tried to question him. Are you a member of the fire department? Well, yes, I am. Well, it took like 3 rounds of questions to clarify he's a junior cadet wannabe. That's not exactly membership in the fire department, but Jeannie, he absolutely is those things, a wannabe. And I've seen not one iota of remorse. No. It was all justified. I was justified. This is a case of self-defense. Well, whether or not this was self-defense, you killed people. Yeah. And I think the Bible had something to say about that, if you so believe.
Yes. And then those adults, that one woman that came down, that was a witness. And I thought to myself, honey, you should have stayed at home, because she's coming down, and she brought up Black Lives Matter. And I thought, what the heck is this? I mean, and then these people are around this kid. Why in the heck aren't they wondering about this kid and the different people carrying guns? They're kind of watching them, but still, there's something really wrong with this picture, and I definitely wouldn't have found him not guilty because there's no remorse. The judges, keeping out a lot of things about this kid. There's more to it than meets the eye. Anyway, thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving.
You as well, Jeannie. Enjoy your turkey. I know you will. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates radio show. We'll do one more live show after today. We got you till 5:00 Central Time, so don't go anywhere yet. And we'll do a live show, and then we're going to take off Thursday and Good Friday. And then it's Small Business Saturday. We're going to encourage you to support some of our local sponsors, of course, and all small business owners in our communities. Share your money where it's going to get spent again, right in your own backyard. So I am a small business owner. So many of my clients could use your support. You're the good people. I know you are. You listen to Devil Radio and you support the sponsors. We appreciate you doing so, especially, during this oh so important holiday season when so many of them make their money. Now come back with us. The 4:00 happy hour. It's not done yet. I think we've got updates from the appearance in Waukesha. And in fact, we have one more fatality, an 8-year-old boy. Come back, more Devils.
I'm so glad you're listening to Devil Radio. It makes me so happy. Boo.
Quality CBD is your Madison cannabis experience destination. Different than the head shops, Quality CBD is gallery quality art, ambiance, and a Bella bar experience that's second to none. Enjoy kombucha and a Bella glass full of vaporized, legal Delta 8 cannabis. Slow down, relax, and enjoy the experience. Only at Quality CBD, 1222 Williamson Street. Come for the Quality CBD, stay for the experience. Quality CBD, 1222 Willie Street.
Hi, I'm a pleasant voice reminding you to enable Devil Radio before playing Devil Radio. First, you have to enable Devil Radio, which should be natural to Wisconsinites. Just say, Alexa, enable Devil Radio. Then firmly and confidently say, Alexa, play Devil Radio. This should conjure the Devil Radio app, available at the App Store.
The gasoline bite for Thanksgiving travel. I'm Jackie Quinn with an AP News Minute. President Biden's ordered 50 million barrels of oil to be released from America's strategic reserve, saying that will help bring down energy costs. He says U.S. allies are also pitching in to boost supply.
An effort that will span the globe in its reach and ultimately reach your corner gas station, God willing.
The White House is expected to announce those crossing U.S. foreign borders, like truck drivers and emergency response officials, will be required to get fully vaccinated against COVID-19. A Virginia jury is awarding millions in damages against white nationalist leaders for violence that erupted during the 2017 rally in Charlottesville. Remember Brian Laundrie, the fiance of Gabby Petito? The medical examiner today announced Laundrie died of suicide. He shot himself in the head in a Florida swamp. Another mixed close on Wall Street. The NASDAQ was down 79 points. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Meet Bob Minetti. In 2016, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Bob participated in a clinical trial that included cutting-edge radiation therapy and surgery. He's been in remission since completion. I'm Keisha Sharp. Since losing my mother to pancreatic cancer, I've been working to share the kind of state-of-the-art work being done by Stand Up to Cancer and Lustgarten Foundation. To learn more about the latest research, including clinical trials, visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
One.
for Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. Last night, the city of Waukesha held a candlelight vigil for the injured and deceased victims of the senseless violence that occurred 24 hours prior when an individual drove an SUV through the Waukesha Christmas parade on Sunday evening. On Monday afternoon, law enforcement officials in Waukesha stated they had no reason to believe the incident was related to any form of domestic or international terrorism. And although the individual driving the SUV was fleeing a domestic disturbance, the event did not occur because of a chase with law enforcement. The Waukesha Police Department is recommending charging Daryl Brooks Jr., the individual driving the SUV, with 5 counts of first-degree intentional homicide in court later today. Forecast of sunshine with slight cloud coverage and winds up to 20 miles an hour today with a high of 44 degrees. Clear skies expected to turn to overcast this evening with an overnight low of 36 degrees. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. The Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show, the 4 o'clock happy hour. A little sadder. 6th person, an 8-year-old boy, has died from parade injuries. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, they just posted this just a few minutes ago. Jackson Sparks, an 8-year-old boy who was marching in the Waukesha Christmas parade with his baseball team, has died from his injuries. Jackson's death was announced on a verified GoFundMe page and was confirmed by his baseball club and his family's church. Now, Jackson was one of the siblings. Both he and his brother Tucker, a 12-year-old, were struck by the SUV during the parade and were hospitalized in the intensive care unit at Children's Hospital. Jackson is the first child to die from his injuries in the incident. 5 adults were also killed. More than 48 people were injured. I had seen prior reporting today that number's been repacked up to 62 injured. According to his GoFundMe page, Jackson underwent brain surgery on Sunday. Tucker is the older brother, suffered a fractured skull and road rash and will be released from the hospital, according to GoFundMe. So 8-year-old Jackson Sparks has passed from injuries received at the Christmas parade in Waukesha. He died apparently this afternoon. Amy from Watertown, welcome to the show. Sad news, Amy, but welcome. What do you got for us?
Well, I wonder if they're going to get $1 million to help those families.
Well, there is a big fundraising campaign going on currently. And my understanding, let me clarify this thought for the audience. The Waukesha County Community Foundation reported that the United for Waukesha Community Fund has raised something approaching $1 million at this point, 4,600 unique donors from all 50 states and Canada's. Donations varied from $10 to $10,000 and are coming in constantly. But, $1 million, these dollars, when you spread them across 6 families now with fatalities and 62 injured families, we'll be lucky if this pays for funeral arrangements, if you will.
Somebody call Rick Strader.
Yeah.
I resisted calling till I was sure I wouldn't cuss on your show. But how about that guy with the gun? Why wasn't he there to protect people? He had a gun just like the other one. I mean, they made him out to be some kind of criminal with a gun. Then, and he was there to protect people, not property. But Rittenhouse, the little bit I saw of it, because I just didn't want to see it, he didn't know basically the weapon he had, because when you put those kind of bullets into a gun, it's basically a different weapon that's going to rip people apart. He didn't know, anything about that. And my other 2 comments are basically on these new laws. Maybe this fellow with the car thought it was a protest and he could just run people over, huh? And also, maybe he was afraid and he could use a car, not a gun. Or is a gun not a weapon and not a car?
Well, I understand your frustration. I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. I got to be honest with you. There are a number of Christmas festivals that are currently reevaluating how they're going to handle themselves, be it parades or others, in light of this tragic circumstance in Waukesha. Holiday parades are beloved annual traditions for countless communities, but after the unthinkable tragedy struck one of Milwaukee area's first of the year, some are reconsidering their plans. On Monday, Menominee Falls announced the cancellation of its annual Christmas parade, scheduled for November 28th, in the wake of the SUV plowing into the Waukesha Christmas parade on Sunday. A number of other communities are rethinking their plans and expect to make decisions soon on whether to move forward or make new security precautions. Here's a quote from Menominee Falls Village President Dan Glasgow. "It would be very hard to march in the parade, which would normally be a very joyous time, knowing that many people have been seriously injured and 5 have died. Unfortunately, Dave, that number has now grown to 6. We stand in solidarity with our Waukesha friends and mourn with them the injured and those who lost their lives." Residents possibly being too terrified to attend the parade also factored into the decision. I guess I would wonder, I mean, in light of this circumstance, who's going to the parade this year? I'm not clear that I would. I'm not clear that I would go to a holiday parade, at least not in the short run, not this year. Whitefish Bay has also decided not to have its holiday stroll parade, which was scheduled for Friday, according to the Merchants of Whitefish Bay special edition newsletter. The decision was made in coordination with the Village of Whitefish Bay and the Whitefish Bay Police Department. Here is what is being written. The Whitefish Bay Business Improvement District, the BID, is deeply saddened by the events in Waukesha, and out of respect for our grieving community, unanimously made this decision. The village's tree lighting ceremony and non-parade activities that occur as part of the holiday stroll are also being postponed. The newsletter encouraged residents and visitors to visit Silver Spring Drive throughout December for holiday activities and to make a donation to the Waukesha Community Fund. Not a bad idea for anyone that can, afford to give a little. The suspect in the Waukesha parade incident, once again, we've announced his name, Daryl Brooks Jr., 39 of Milwaukee. Well, he faced formal charges about 4 o'clock today. My understanding, his first appearance in court was today, or at least was scheduled to be sometime after 4 o'clock today. As we approach the 5 o'clock hour in the central time zone, I suspect he'll appear shortly or has already. West Allis and St. Francis are still making decisions over their parade. Municipalities like West Allis plan to meet to discuss their parades. West Allis's parade is scheduled for December 4th. That's a Saturday, I believe, along with the city's annual tree lighting ceremony at City Hall. The city of St. Francis will be evaluating all aspects of its upcoming event with the police and fire departments. City Attorney Paul Alexi of the Municipal Law and Litigation Group SC said in an email to the Journal Sentinel Monday. Well, again, it's got to be a difficult circumstance for, not just the community of Waukesha, obviously. All Wisconsin communities are aware of what happened. And anyone that's got their own parade schedule has got to be a little bit leery of, any sort of a circumstance that's going to hearken or remind people of what just occurred on Sunday. So it's a tough time. It's a tragic time. And I'm not sure that the conviction of the accused, Daryl Brooks Jr., I'm not sure what sort of joy or justice that's going to feel like. But, he will have a trial, I strongly suspect. I don't think he's going to plead guilty, but who knows? 844-967-2789. You can be a part of this show if you so choose. A little bit prior, talked about the Rittenhouse appearance on the Rhymes with Tucker Carlson show last night. Fox News, Peter Doocy, the D-bag Doocy, went to the White House today, and, it's kind of been a constant, pain in Jen Psaki's you-know-what. But he went to the White House and he asked Jen Psaki if President Joe Biden would apologize to the acquitted Kenosha shooter, Kyle Rittenhouse. And she didn't hesitate to turn the tables on him, according to the reporting I found at the Raw story. During Tuesday's press conference or press briefing, Ducey pointed out that Biden linked Rittenhouse to white supremacists in remarks he made during the 2020 presidential. And he, Ducey, the junior, asked if Biden would apologize to Rittenhouse. This is about a campaign video released last year that used President Trump's own words during a debate as he refused to condemn white supremacists and militia groups. She replied. And President Trump, as you know, didn't just refuse to condemn militia groups on the debate stage. He actively encouraged them throughout his presidency. Psaki said, then linked Rittenhouse's decision to travel to Kenosha with an armed AR-15 to Trump's encouragement of militias and vigilantes. Psaki continued in response to Ducey, what we've seen are the tragic consequences of that. When people think it's okay to take the law into their own hands, she said. During the first debate between Biden and Trump in 2020, Trump told the Proud Boys to stand by and stand back. I think it was the opposite way. Stand back and stand by, which they took to mean an explicit statement of support. I don't think they were so wrong. 844-967-2789. There is some news on the Proud Boys. The January 6th committee has issued subpoenas to the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. This being reported at the Washington Post, this new news this afternoon. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol by pro-Trump mob issued subpoenas Tuesday to the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and other groups as it investigates the causes of the insurrection. Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio, Oath Keeper founder and leader Stuart Rhodes, and First Amendment Praetorian co-founder Robert Patrick Lewis are the targets of the inquiry's latest subpoenas. The committee is seeking depositions and documents from the three, along with requests for documents and records from the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. Now, here is a statement from Rep. Benny Thompson. He heads this committee. We believe the individuals and organizations we subpoenaed today have relevant information about how violence erupted at the Capitol and the preparation leading up to this violent attack. Federal authorities have already arrested associates of some of these right-wing groups involved in storming the Capitol. Tarrio and Rhodes have been the focus of the FBI's ongoing investigation into the Capitol attack for their roles in the January 6th. Tarrio has been serving a 5-month sentence for 2 crimes, including setting fire to a Black Lives Matter banner stolen from the historic Black church in Washington during the demonstration after Joe Biden defeated former President Donald Trump in the 2020 election. Who said Biden won? They're still fighting that point. Like, who said the South lost the Civil War? He was denied early release from a DC jail by a judge Monday after claiming he has been enduring unsanitary conditions and mistreatment at the jail. The letter transmitting notice of the subpoena, Thompson cites Tarrio's post on Parler that the Proud Boys would not be wearing our traditional black and yellow, but would be incognito instead for the January 6th, Stop the Steal protest, is an example of some of the advanced planning Tarrio was involved in ahead of the event. Here's a quote, Benny Thompson's quote. Though you were prevented from participating in the events at the United States Capitol on January 6th, to date, at least 34 individuals affiliated with the Proud Boys have been indicted by the Department of Justice in relation to the attack on the United States Capitol. The committee is also seeking depositions and documents from Rhodes, citing his repeated suggestions in writing and spoken remarks that the Oath Keepers, and here's the quote, should or were prepared to engage in violence to ensure their preferred election outcome. Catch all that? The Oath Keepers were going to, use violence to ensure their preferred election outcome. I don't think they were down for the certification of Joe Biden on January 6th. More here from the reporting at the Post. The committee also identifies Rhodes as an individual referred to in an indictment returned by a federal jury in Washington that describes a conspiracy amongst at least 18 Oath Keepers in which members of the Oath Keepers plan to move together in coordination with regular communication to storm the Capitol. In an interview with the Washington Post this fall, Rhodes, who has cooperated with the FBI investigators, denied that he and other Oath Keepers plan to disrupt, I deny it, Congress's certification of the Electoral College vote, and said that Oath Keeper associates who breached the Capitol went totally off mission. And an investigation by the Post found that Rhodes' image as the leader of the real paramilitary group is exaggerated. Come back with us. More devil's advocates. Who is really leading the Proud Boys? Well, you know what? Perhaps that newly exonerated Kyle Rittenhouse. He's got something to aspire to. Aspire. No, the people he shot, they expired. He aspires. Got to get my words straight. Come back. More devils. 844-967-2789.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
At Knuckleheads, our knowledgeable staff knows the ins and outs of CBD. Whether you're a veteran of cannabis like the Double Radio team or a first-time customer, the Knuckleheads team has the information to answer all your CBD questions. Never heard of a tincture? We got you covered. Looking for something to address those achy joints? We got just the thing. Stop into our new location at 520 State Street and mention Double Radio to our knowledgeable staff to get 15% off your order today. Knuckleheads, your one-stop shop for CBD in Madison.
This is Chad Spate. Are you thinking about improving or expanding your home? At Chad's Design Build, we're committed to making your home comfortable, healthy, attractive, durable, and sustainable. In fact, those commitments spell our name. And we deliver these services with our outstanding team of professionals who will respect you and your home. Visit our website at chadsdesignbuild.com to learn more about how we are building a better world, one remodeled home at a time.
Hey, this is Rocker, and I'm back on the patio at Salvatore's Tomato Pies on East Wash. I'm having a brand new cocktail you just have to try. It's called Divide and Concord. It features Rocker vodka along with Concord grape, thyme, St. Elizabeth's dram, and a touch of lemon lime. Ask for it by name, Divide and Concord, at Salvatore's Tomato Pies. Find Rocker vodka and Rocker rye whiskey at Vic Pierce on Sherman Avenue. Please drink responsibly.
Greetings, everyone. This is Nate Tim inviting you to my show, Lay of the Land, about life and politics in rural Wisconsin. Join me every Thursday at 7 p.m. Join me this week for my special guest, Bill Hodseth. See you then.
I find your lack of Devil Radio 92.7 disturbing. Do not fail me again.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the last segment for this sad and tragic Tuesday. Another death resulting from the carnage in Waukesha. An 8-year-old boy has died from injuries sustained. He was hit by the SUV in Waukesha. An 8-year-old boy has died. He was one of the siblings. His brother also apparently significantly injured in the hospital. But we have a sixth, 6 victims now of the Waukesha carnage. Rittenhouse, and obviously the story in Waukesha, and Kyle Rittenhouse just acquitted on Friday. We've sort of gone back and forth. I've got one quick update on the Rittenhouse. And we've also got some updates from Rojo the Clown, U.S. Senator from the great state of Wisconsin. Is probably running again, but let me get to the Rittenhouse from last night. We talked about the fact he went on the Tucker Carlson on the Foxy News. You know, Tucker rhymes with Tucker, who called him a sweet kid and seemed shocked to hear about the substandard living conditions in his jail. Carlson is also producing a documentary about the case, which will be released in December. Rittenhouse's attorney, Mark Richards, told the Associated Press that the filming was arranged against his wishes by people who were raising money for Rittenhouse, though he did not say that Fox paid the teen. Wonder if they did. During the hour-long interview aired Monday, Rittenhouse offered sharp words for his former attorneys Lynn Wood and John Pierce, who he accused of using him to raise money for their own political agenda. Rittenhouse and Wood are fighting over who gets to keep the $2 million posted for the teen's bail. Talked about that. I believe, according to statute, it would go back to Lynn Wood. He's the one that issued the check. The Chicago Tribune reached out to Wood, whose Fight Back Foundation champions far-right issues and election conspiracy theories, and he responded with a recording of an interview he had done Monday with another news organization. Wood told the Daily Beast reporter he was recording the conversation and would share it publicly. Wood suggested that Rittenhouse had fed misinformation and said he had done nothing but help the teen. He said the teen was being influenced by an advisor with a deep state agenda. In addition to making the $2 million bail, Fight Back paid about $700,000 for his attorney's fees and expenses of litigation, including spending money to produce the videotape that was kind of the start to finish of what happened. Rittenhouse spent more than 80 days in jail, including several weeks in Kenosha, that he said didn't have running water. Carlson appeared incredulous as Rittenhouse described the sanitary conditions and fear for his own safety while in custody. Though he didn't have running water, Rittenhouse said he had a cell phone. Oh, pardon me. He had a single cell with a desk, television, bed, tablet, and phone. He had a phone. Imagine putting that kid in jail, Carson told viewers in a tone typically reserved for pearl clutching. Rittenhouse also criticized his former attorney Pierce for saying the teen was part of an unorganized militia. Rittenhouse's defense team blasted the militia rumors at trial without acknowledging his ex-lawyer's role in that claim. Now, me and Matt Flynn talked about that a little bit. John Pearson said that, and it's blatantly false, Rittenhouse said. I didn't know what militia he was until after the fact, until November 25th, when I was watching some of the interviews he did. I'm like, I'm not in a militia. I don't know what that is. Rittenhouse fatally shot Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber and wounded Gage Grosskreutz while ostensibly guarding a used car lot with an AR-15 style rifle in downtown Kenosha. All four men were in the southeast Wisconsin town amid social unrest following the shooting of Jacob Blake. A Kenosha County jury found he acted in self-defense each time he pulled the trigger, acquitting him of all 5 felony counts. We've talked about that. Rittenhouse told Carlson, I believe God's been on my side from the beginning. Well, you know, most warriors do think that God's on their side. Rittenhouse repeated many of the explanations and self-defense claims he offered during his testimony, but he also hurled accusations at a Kenosha County Assistant DA Thomas Binger, alleging prosecutorial misconduct and saying he worried about defendants who didn't have the money to fight for themselves like he did. I'm not a racist person. I support the BLM movement. I support peacefully demonstrating, he said. I believe that needs to be changed. I believe there is a lot of prosecutorial misconduct, not just in my case, but in others. It's just amazing to see how much a prosecutor can take advantage of someone. If they did this to me, imagine what could have been done to a person of color who doesn't have the resources I do. I know, imagine indeed, folks. In an email to the Tribune, Binger, he, of course, the assistant DA, said he had not seen the interview or paid attention to the comments made since the verdict. He said he has been focused on 2 upcoming trials, including one in which a 15-year-old girl was abducted and raped. Here is his quote, though. As for Mr. Rittenhouse, the only thing I can say is that I've been a prosecutor for a long time, and I know that it's routine for defendants to accuse the police or the prosecution of misconduct because they're unhappy that they've been caught and charged with a crime. I give Mr. Rittenhouse's complaints no more credence than I do any other disgruntled defendants. He would be wise to remember that being found not guilty by a jury is not the same thing as being innocent. Indeed, no one can ignore the fact that he killed 2 people, and that will be a burden he'll have to carry with him for the rest of his life. Yeah, Killer Rittenhouse. That part, can't take that away from him. Rojo the Clown, Ron Johnson, U.S. Senator, Senior Senator from the great state of Wisconsin. I think we got a soundbite if there's time. Let's Play Rojo saying probably going to run for re-election.
What about you? Are you going to get 6 more years? You're going to try for 6 more?
Well, we make that decision the next few weeks here. One thing that will definitely drive it, though, is just the results of Democrat governance. This is a disaster for our nation.
Yeah. Even if you were thinking about not running again, do you feel like you have a responsibility now, especially with everything that's happening in Wisconsin and around our country?
It's quite honestly, if you're in a position to try and help things, would you walk away? That's certainly what's on my mind. I don't know that I can just simply walk away at this point in time.
Understood.
Yeah, he's running. Ron Johnson will run for re-election. I suspect we always knew he would, despite the fact he came on the show about 6 years ago and said, 2 terms. And then the wife says, I got to be out. Well, Ron, that was not a credible statement of fact when you made it. You're lying, big guy, because I know and you're running for re-election. And you know what? I kind of look forward to it. Can't wait till the election year. It's next year. We still got a lot of programming still today. Want to thank my good friend Matt Flynn for joining me. Tune in early in the morning, 6 to 8 a.m. I'm not always up for the early parts, but you should be. Matt Flynn Direct right here on Devil Radio 92.7. Got another good friend joining us next. Well, it's Earl Ingram, the Earl Ingram Show, the Native Roots Radio. Then it's Tuesday night. We do Busted Pencils, educated educators talking education. That's my good friend, Dr. Tim Selector and Johnny Lupinati. A couple of fine education doctorates doing all the education stuff. Keep it locked right here, Devil Radio 92.7. Always appreciate you listening.
Gifting season is upon us, and here's an opportunity to spread the holiday joy. Ethical Trading Company is fighting to end human